Whether you're an industry pro or just starting out, this podcast is for you. As the battlefield of work keeps shifting and the rules keep changing, real connection and unfiltered learning have never been more urgent. Welcome to a space where recruiters, leaders, deep thinkers, and career changers come together to share raw, unfiltered experiences. They say a rising tide lifts all ships, so let's rise together. This isn't just a podcast, it's your everyday survival guide. Welcome to Your Digital Bullpen.
How are y'all?
Oh my God, I miss your y'alls. It's so good to see you.
Yes, a reunion we didn't know we needed. I'm glad to be here with you, Sarah.
I know, I'm excited. It's been far too long.
It has, and it's been a few months. So we are hopefully brushing off the dust and getting started in.
You're welcome with us.
Well, guys, welcome to Your Digital Bullpen. We are so excited to have the lovely Sarah Palmer with us. Guys, Mirna, it's been, we just hit our year mark with the Digital Bullpen, which is fantastic.
Which is wild.
I can't believe it. And in that time, we've sat down with some of the sharpest minds in staffing, experts in the world of employment and leadership. We've uncovered like what drives high performers, how to rebuild after unexpected career shifts, and what it really takes to lead with heart and grit. It's been super fun. I mean, we've talked about career pivots and comebacks, building businesses from the ground up, reimagining recruiting with AI, and how the best show up every single day. And we're just getting started. And today is no different because we sit down with the magical and talented Sarah Palmer. Sarah, hi, welcome. She is the president of Hueman People Solutions, Hueman People Solutions.
Love that.
With over 17 years in the talent space, Sarah has played a key role in building Hueman and one of the most recognizable names in the recruitment process outsourcing, or RPOs, leading everything from recruitment ops to sales, marketing, mergers and acquisitions, integrations. She's done it all. She has been nationally recognized by Staffing Industry Associates and HRO Today, Human Resource Today. She has helped Hueman earn multiple Best Places to Work, no surprise, and RPO awards. A true people-first leader with a systems mindset. Sarah knows what it takes to scale talent solutions, and she's here to share with us what she has learned. Holy shit. Sarah, welcome.
Hey, so first, congratulations on your first year. That's super cool.
Yes.
Really proud of y'all. I watched it kind of launch from the side. I was like, this is so cool to see them keeping up. So that's awesome. Thanks for having me today. I mean, it's been 10 years since we all worked together, almost 10 years.
It's been a bit.
Yes, we were sharing some fun stories before we hit record on some fun meetings in good old Jacksonville, Florida. And it's great memories. But Sarah, I want to start because how does somebody that started in digital marketing end up running a top RPO in the USA? What the heck? How'd you get here?
Yeah. So listen, I think that when I started my career, it was about 2007, 2008. And digital marketing was just becoming a thing, right? Like we had all learned how to take the World Wide Web and bring it from into a B2B sort of environment. But at the same time, that was when analytics and web structures and SEO and all that stuff was really being born. So much of my background in marketing isn't on the creative side. That's an aspect of it, but it was about data and analytics.
Yes.
And I always had a passion for looking at the data and figuring out what the story was, and then finding the levers to pull to make us more efficient. And at some point, about 10 years ago, I was like, you know what? I should be able to translate this into operations. I want to learn how to do this to run a business and operate a P&L. And it's the same concept, take information, make objective decisions as a starting point and figure out how to improve, right? And so I was able to translate that. A lot of my work was in recruitment marketing, so obviously naturally into recruitment. I was a big part of transforming organizations, especially at a deco group. Like again,
Yes.
Mhm.
era, like at that time, all recruitment was done in the individual branches, if you guys remember. Well,
Yeah.
Yes.
our team came in partnership with places like Indeed. We're like, hey, we
Mhm.
can centralize this now. We can do all this work for you. We can decrease dependency on those
Yes.
unique brick and mortar locations. And so
Yeah.
I think going through that first transformation and seeing a business transform, even from my little seat and piece of that,
Yeah.
like got me super excited to do more of that over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
Well,
And
it was, go ahead, Paul.
no, I'm just saying data. It's funny how you're like I started in data and it is recruiting and what we do, it is about the data and it is
Hmm.
like I mean we run our business based off of metrics and it is
Yes.
the nuts and bolts of it are transferable and I love that that's kind of how you evolved into this. And how many years at the Deco Group before you moved into
it
human?
was like about almost 9 years.
Yeah,
So,
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
and I've been
Amazing.
here, I think 9 years. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, and when
Crazy.
you and your team joined, I mean, it made a huge difference. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
I think that's when I learned the word SEO, search engine optimization, and we were
Yeah.
doing all those job postings,
Yep.
and
Hmm.
it was just like wild. We are like, what does this even mean? But it made a difference in like on our day-to-day desk. So
Yeah.
those were all the like many little things that Sarah was always doing in the back end for
Yes.
like a huge organization.
Totally.
Well, and I know I mentioned like the first of all, human. I love first it's spelled Hueman.
Yeah.
Tell us about the name. What does it mean? How does that kind of filter into your organization? Share with us how you kind of came about to be.
Yeah, so when we started this business, I joined this organization and the leadership team had just sold off or was in the
Mm,
process of transitioning out of a travel nursing business. And
Oh.
so we had the opportunity to create an identity from scratch. And you guys know I've done a ton of rebranding,
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
a ton of that integration work, but I'd never had the privilege of naming a company, which was
Yeah.
really cool.
And
And
stressful.
what's that?
It's stressful,
It was
probably.
so stressful. It was so stressful. So we partnered with an agency, but the one thing I said to them was like, I actually want it to represent what we do. Like in our
Hmm.
Yeah.
space, a lot of the names of RPO and staffing companies are like names of families that have now been like smushed together over the years. And
Right.
Yeah.
what does this even mean, you know?
Yeah.
So we went through an exercise and we ended up like writing this whole like mission statement first and it tried to capture our values and
Hmm.
culture. And
Yeah.
really, we know we're really proud of being a people-centric, people-first business. People are our priority. We're in the
Yes.
people business. And sort of going through that process led us into eventually coming up with human. And
Yes.
Hmm.
we actually our hashtag is we are human, and we plugged in the name to that whole statement. It just flowed smoothly. We
Hmm.
knew we had something. But
Yeah.
for us, it was really important. Like all we do is the world. We just work in the world of humans. Like
Yeah.
Yes.
with an E and without an E. The E is there to represent each person's unique traits and qualities, right? Whether we come from different backgrounds, we have different skill sets, we want different things in life. We're different people, we look
Yeah.
different, we speak different. We wanted to have a really inclusive, aspirational brand
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
could represent anyone that we work with. And so it was so fun to do that, go
That
through that
sounds
Yes.
fun.
process. And
Yeah.
the second we came up with that, I had to kind of sell it internally. And I was like, I am not walking out of this room until
Hmm.
we are bought in.
I'm not
So,
Yeah.
surprised. I'm not surprised. Sarah will keep at it until it's like, A, you're gonna believe me or you're gonna believe me.
yeah, and listen, it wasn't a hard sell for most,
Yeah.
just a couple individuals, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's really cool. And I think it let us stand out in a super crowded space that, again, is used to sort of these legacy names or spin-offs
Yeah.
of larger companies. So it was
Yeah.
fun to take advantage of that. So.
I
I
love it.
can't remember, Sarah. Did you say you guys are like remote or you guys like hybrid? I can't remember how
So
you're
we're
like you
hybrid.
Okay.
hybrid. Okay.
So this really started during the pandemic. So
Hmm.
we
Yes.
have our headquarters are Jacksonville Beach, Florida. Pre-pandemic, we were probably like 75% in office with another,
Yeah.
uh, let's call it 20% like local remotes, like people that were
Yes.
in a hybrid and maybe 5% remote. currently, and some of this has happened through acquisitions, we're maybe 30% in office,
Okay.
the
Nice.
balance being remote. We do have two other smaller offices, so with them, maybe it's more like 35, 40%.
Yeah,
We just
that's
did an
awesome.
acquisition, so the numbers changed recently.
Yeah.
How
No,
many
that's awesome.
employees are
You
you
guys have a
guys
couple
at?
locations.
We're at about 450 employees, and when we
Wow.
Wow.
started this business, we were at 81, and we
It's
started in
amazing.
2017.
That's
So
Yeah.
amazing.
That's
it's
amazing growth.
yeah,
Yeah.
and 450, give or take a few.
Sure,
We're
sure.
ramping up for peak right now, so we have like recruiters coming and going like crazy. So
That's
Yes.
awesome. I tell you what, Sarah, like it one of the things I always remember about you is you were very good at taking somebody's viewpoints and challenging them, not in a negative way, but in a way that makes you think, well, is that the best way? And it wasn't you question everything and you never take something for face value, which I think in a positive way, where you challenge people to think beyond like the actual problem. And that was something that I remember you and I could have. We would just have conversations, at length, at nauseum, just talking about things. And I always came out feeling energized and excited. So
Mhm.
I'm imagining you continuing that in your current company, which has probably helped you grow Human from 8 million to over $30 million annually, which is
yeah.
amazing. I would say, so what is going from an individual producer into leadership and now in your role, what is the like maybe some of the biggest leadership lessons that you've kind of acquired through this journey?
Yep. And I won't give you the actual number, but let's say it is significantly bigger than 30 million, just as a
Ah,
correction. But
oh,
I
got it.
won't
Thank you. Okay. Awesome.
Um, but listen, the biggest thing I've learned is scaling is not simple, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've really had to figure out is so a little bit of a finance concept, but like the step variable that happens. So like you hit different step variables in a business where
Hmm.
what you did, I'll just use rough numbers. It can sustain you maybe from 120 employees to 200. But now you're
Hmm.
at that next crucial point. Maybe what you did for 200 employees works for 350.
Hmm.
And then figuring out. So we grew very rapidly.
Mm.
Hmm.
And being the ops leader, I'd had experience working with much larger businesses. It's interesting because a lot of my peers actually didn't.
Yeah.
But even though they ran a business that was larger, their head count was much smaller, just different
Mm.
business type. So we were all in this like, how do we make it to this next step together? And what have we learned and what can we do different? And so one of the things that we really have had to change our mindset on is not just solving for the need tomorrow, but making sure what we put into place can solve for that iteration a few steps into the future.
Mm.
Hmm.
It's not easy to do and it's not
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
But we're trying to leverage data, insights, and now more experience to sort of be more predictable and plan
Yeah.
for it. But the other thing, probably the most important thing, is being flexible and open to
Yeah.
change. And like
Yes.
change is a big core value at our business.
Hmm.
And I love change. Yeah, I get so bored if like we're not constantly trying something new.
Yes.
Yes.
But like we just have to be open-minded. I cannot pretend I know everything or
Hmm.
else we will stop and we will fail. And that's how our leadership team operates. So,
Yeah.
I
And
love
that's just
that.
great information because part of our community that we have a lot of like first time staffing agency owners that
Hmm.
are, taking the risk to get out there, build their own thing, take what they've learned and try to implement it and turn it into a business. And I know Paul and I have a handful of people that we can think of. So when
Yeah.
you're answering this next question, I kind of want you to also think about how this would relate to like a smaller to
okay.
medium org.
Yeah.
But what Sarah's done, most of the time we think RPO is like high volume. And
Hmm.
even with staffing firms, you have national accounts, and that's a bit high
Hmm.
volume in that sense. But you're really expanding that into direct hire and search.
Hmm.
Kind of talk to us how you've made that turn, because it's not an easy kind of like
Yeah.
rethinking of that, the model. But then how can, maybe smaller staffing firms maybe use some of this information to help them grow? or
Okay.
expand?
Yeah. So
Hmm.
it's going to take me a second to unpack this, but bear
Please.
with.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would say is you have to have a core product and solution. And that
Yes.
might sound obvious, but if you've also gone out to start your own business, you probably have an entrepreneurial spirit and you get
Mm,
super excited about trying out all sorts of new things and wanting
Hmm.
to respond to all of your clients' problems.
yes.
Yeah.
But first, really make sure your starting point and the product that you have is clear, it's specific, and it's proven, and you
Hmm.
can clearly articulate the value proposition,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Once you have done that decently, it doesn't have to be perfect. 80% is good enough,
I
right?
love
Like,
that. I love that because so many people are like, it's not perfect yet. You're like, good.
no. So
Good is
like
good enough. Yes.
yeah, and like that's a big marketing philosophy, like in like the sprint mentality is like get something till it's good enough, let it run, and then you keep iterating, but move on to the
Mhm.
next thing.
Yeah.
Love
So
it.
as you are realizing, okay, this is where I need it to be, but I'm hearing all these new pain points, and I think I have the capabilities, right? There's
Hmm.
two things. One, make sure you're depending on others that have that subject matter expertise. So even if it's just like
Hmm.
calling up a friend or forming like a network or
Hmm.
just reaching out to someone, like don't believe you can or you need to figure this all out on your own. If you're a
Hmm.
small business, you're a small engine. Like so
Yeah.
depend on expertise, right? Other
Yeah.
people's expertise is invaluable.
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
the last thing, and this is what we really did, is our primary product when we started this business was a really traditional white glove professional RPO solution specializing in acute care systems.
Ah.
So when you think about an acute care setting, think about it like a small city, right? So we're known for employing clinicians and RNs, but that really only represents 50% of the people that walk through a door in a hospital.
Hmm.
We have janitors, we have call
Hmm.
center reps, you have back office collections. It's not all the same titles in hospitals, but those are the
Sure.
relevant
Yeah.
ones. So we basically said, how can we look at where we have all of this experience, but it's not really broadcast that like we could go sell something in a higher volume space, or we do IT recruiting all the time or accounting and finance recruiting. How can we take some of that expertise and almost like pull it out and
Yeah.
bring
Yeah.
it to market in a different way? And that's really
Hmm.
how that started. And then the last thing I'll say is, and we're in this right now, the thick of it. Listen,
Hmm.
the market isn't always the friendliest to staffing and recruiting companies
Right.
or
Absolutely
anything.
not. Yeah.
And if we think our high value, long term solution can be purchased everywhere right now, we would be ignorant. And so
Right.
we have
Yeah.
to pivot to meet the market where it's at. So,
Yeah. I love that. And I think that there's something to be said for, you talked about being a small engine in a small
Yeah.
business. And even if you are a recruiter that's working, as, a lone wolf on your own, like that same mentality can happen to where if you have a problem, you can network. And I know that we've talked to other recruiters who have like almost this like small community that they build, and they work together. So I think that's something to be said for ensuring that you're not just trying to attack it alone, which is huge.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think some people get hesitant to like reach out, like, oh, well, I don't want to take advantage or I don't have the dollars for this
Mm.
consultant. Everyone is desperate for exchange of information.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Everyone wants the same feedback and insights back.
Mhm.
And so don't be afraid. Like lean in, even if it's someone you don't know, but you follow on LinkedIn, that's our entire job is networking.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
Totally.
absolutely. And there's a lot of free information out there, and people will, it's
Yeah.
reciprocity, right? You share, you get
Yeah.
absolutely.
something from it. Absolutely. Well,
Absolutely.
so obviously you talked a lot about change and you love change. Change, you lean into it, which is huge.
Hmm.
But I remember we were talking immediately before, we talked a lot about change readiness, right? As opposed to managing the change. So inside of Human, how does that work? And then how do you get your team? Because with change comes disruption, right?
Yeah,
And some companies are like, well, we can't disrupt the business,
Hmm.
right.
which you kind of have to. So how
Right.
do you guys embrace that? How do you guys deal with disruption and prepare for it?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a great question. And I have to tell you, there is like a natural conflict that can arise within me thinking about this too, because I am the operations leader. So I have to protect the core success of the business. So change comes with risk, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so one thing again I'll say is making sure that I have some great counterbalances to what might be a more risk adverse perspective I have if it's a change that could have impacts like how we deliver and operate every day, right?
Okay.
There's just a lot to consider. So I always like
Yeah.
to we always need counterparts to like talk
Yes.
through things.
Yeah.
For us, again, I already said this, change is a core value, and it's something
Mhm.
that is communicated every single week as part of our core value. We're also a business that has just grown a lot and gone through a lot of change. So we're pretty articulate about embracing change. So
Yeah.
just making sure the organization knows it's something that's an always for us. It's not, we just stayed stagnant and now we're going to change. It's an
Yeah.
always.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like right now in our world, AI is blowing up. AI is blowing
Yeah.
up everywhere, right?
Yes.
And there's a lot of sensitivity in our space about recruiters getting replaced and like the
Mm.
industry
Yeah.
being cannibalized by it. And I think about this the exact same way I talk about digital revolution in
Mhm.
2007 to 9, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to get on board. So you can be afraid of what's going to happen, or you can control the solution and get
Hmm.
ahead of the market and what your
Yes.
solution is going to be and
Hmm.
embrace the change. So
Yep.
Yeah.
what we made a critical decision to prioritize AI, put an SME that's all she's doing is focused, not any longer, it's evolved, but like that was all she was doing. And we decided to introduce it in the least frictionless way in the business, but that could scale fastest. So
Mm.
where do we know the client will adopt this? There's no contractual restrictions.
Mm.
We know there's a need. We know it's going to solve a problem. Go here.
Mm.
Prove it. Now let's scale it. So we're in this scaling phase. The next phase will become like the operational efficiency phase. We're just not there yet. So
Yeah.
I think some of it is about proving it internally and externally because your
Mm.
recruiters need to have confidence that they're not
Yeah.
going to lose their jobs because of this, but instead
Right.
you get to spend time on higher value work. Your client
Yeah.
needs to have confidence that's not just robots and you're still going to get
Right.
a solution. And
Yes.
we as a business need to have confidence that it's going to do for us what we think it's going to do to help us grow,
Yep.
Yeah.
I
And so constantly communicating that is
Yeah.
huge, huge.
and you know it's I one of the things that I think is so interesting is you lean into it, and I think now that you're part of the conversation, there's some businesses that are waiting for AI. They're like, well, let's see what happens, right? And then they will be adopting as it happens. Where you take the approach, and many successful companies are like, I'm going to lean into it. Now I'm part of the conversation, right?
Yeah.
I'm helping to manipulate and involve actually how it's impacting our business, and I think that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, listen, that was a big strategic priority about a year ago for us. Is like
Yeah.
we knew there was a white space, and one of the bigger guys was going to figure it out, but it was going to take him forever to
Hmm.
figure it
Mm-hmm.
out. And there are some disruptors out there, and let's partner with these disruptors and become one. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
the way again, if we can figure out how to do this, we all win in the industry too.
Yes.
Like
Right.
we get more customers engaged that have bigger buying power because the products can be a more efficient product for them to
Right.
purchase.
Right.
It's a win-win.
Right. And I
So,
Yeah.
think disruptors aren't even disruptors, they're enablers, right? They enable our change. And so it's huge. I think there's such
yeah,
good value there, but I love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well, and I'm curious, like, now that you guys have implemented, what are some of like the, I guess, biggest takeaways that your team has seen with the, adaptation, the change readiness? You mentioned about a year ago. So what's kind of been that evolution for them? Where are they winning and where is there opportunity still from your
Yeah.
perspective?
Yeah. Listen, the low-hanging fruit we thought was going to be low-hanging fruit proved out to be just
Yeah.
that. Again, we started intentionally to get some use cases and data. As we've gone to scale this, there's two things, every one of our partnerships in the RPO world is unique. Like we
Yeah.
Mhm.
operate in their process, their brand. And so even though you can say, hey, this recruiter does a similar thing that this recruiter does, their day in the life can be different. And so some of it has been
Mm.
internal of like, this is going to take you a little bit of time up front, but the results are going to pay off in this way and have
Yeah.
confidence in this product. So what we did to solve for that is layered in additional resources to support the recruiter, right?
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
was a recruiter being offline for 8 hours to do what the AI tool needs it to do isn't a great experience for anyone.
Right.
So
Yes.
layering in resources has been a big deal and knowing that need is necessary and continuing that investment. On the client side, clients are pretty risk adverse, right? This AI
Yes.
thing is scary. A lot of them have EEOC requirements, they have union requirements. We are a small arm of their process of their employee experience.
Yeah.
They're again trying to not get sued and all the things. And so it's really been about educating them. So we partner with some pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool companies that we can bring to the table that help them understand in their local area, what are their AI requirements? How could
Mm.
this work from a legal and compliance perspective?
Interesting.
But the biggest shift is now having the data. It's not just
Mm.
data that this is what AI in theory can do. Here's the data for what this exact customer that's just like you in this profile did.
Mm.
Let's do this together. And
Yeah.
clients, though, are slow to change. Like these are
Yeah.
big
Sure.
customers, and they want it, but they work for big companies that they don't have full control over these decisions,
Sure.
Right.
There's a lot of risk. So again, I think knowing that and then being exposed to that, we've now just armed ourselves with more resources that are
Hmm.
experts in this. So we're not trying to pretend to be the experts. We can bring the experts to the table. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
I
love the
love.
client perspective because I don't know that we've had a lot of people share too much about like the candidate experience regarding AI and recruiting. So that is,
Yeah.
I just hadn't
well,
heard
and
that.
the candidate
Yeah.
experience, so we are doing a survey to assess their experience, and our results right now are about a 4.4 out of 5. And
Wow.
like our live human results are somewhere between a 4.7 and 4.8 out of 5. So we
Mm.
look at that as room for improvement.
Yeah.
Mm,
Pretty phenomenal that talking to a machine,
Mm.
that this is the experience they're having. And it's because the AI can meet you where you're at as the candidate. You
Yes.
want to
hmm
talk to me at 2 a.m. You want to
When
talk to
and
me
where?
for 45
Yes.
minutes,
Yeah.
or you want to talk to me for 4 minutes. Like it is changing the game of the user experience because
Hmm.
now the candidate is fully in control of that
Yes.
process.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, when I was working in healthcare staffing with clinicians as well, sometimes they're working nights and they want to talk at night,
yes.
or and
Yep.
that the
Mm,
availability is there to engage them when they are,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
huge.
It's been there have been some interesting outcomes. This isn't a whole AI thing. That should be another one. But there have been some
Yeah,
really
yeah.
interesting outcomes that are
yeah,
unexpected.
yeah.
So
Yeah. That's
We should
awesome.
we should bring you back. We did a whole AI experience with some folks, and we will probably continue that series. So
okay.
that would be fun to hear. But I want to go kind of now we're talking about you talked about the humans in your company and kind of the talent and building your team. So you are big on hiring on not just experience, but also competency. And what does that mean? Like when you say like because you can especially today when people are making shifts all the time in careers or
Hmm
transitions into different lines of business. So what does that mean when you hire for competency?
Yeah, so as a business, our philosophy is, it's more that the person is a cultural fit and
Mm.
has the capabilities to become, let's say, a strong recruiter,
Yeah.
than that actual recruitment experience. And so the way to think about it is like, okay, what makes someone excel in this role? They have to be a strong communicator, versus both verbally and in written communication.
Mhm.
They need to have a certain amount of energy level, right? To
mm,
be able to position and sell the job. So we'll
Yeah.
look at sort of those traits and say, okay, based on their background and what they did before and their personality, does that align with the same traits or competencies that we would look for? Competencies are hard to train for because a lot of
Yeah.
them aren't innate, right? Like you
Yes.
have to start with a kernel of that being true. It can be developed and enhanced.
Hmm.
You can train skills. So if the
hmm
person is competent in that way,
Yeah.
and no matter what level they're at in their mastery of that, and you can keep to refine that, the rest can be learned and it's
Yeah.
learned behavior. And so
Yeah.
that starts like a recruiter level. It's actually the philosophy I've used as like a leader. I used to call it something a little different. I've always been like, let me backfill my weaknesses. But
Mm.
the
mm,
idea was like, here are all the functional things we need to do. And then here are the things like I'm really good at as leader. And this is where I stink. Let me go
Yes.
find someone that's good at that. And it doesn't really matter if they worked in this space. Like I
Mm.
need them to, of course, have some basic skills, but like,
Sure.
what's my problem? I know my stuff. I need someone that's going to fix me here. They don't need to know
Hmm.
my stuff, you know?
Yes.
Mhm.
So that's a big thing with us, and it's how we're looking at leadership development, performance acceleration. Do we have the right people in the job? Because if you just focus on performance management
Hmm.
or skill specific alignment, we're probably missing out on
Yeah.
tapping into potential that is already.
Yes.
Mm. Yeah.
I think that's huge. And when you, as a leader, I don't know if you found it, but when you hire somebody that has that missing piece, it almost helps you become more well-rounded because now you're experiencing them and vice versa, right? So you
It's
start to like gain that
yes, it's
experience.
a full learning movement.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, hopefully you're learning from the people you employ and work with. If not,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's going to be a problem at some point.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and you
So
have an interesting way of just kind of like looking at things. I mean, just kind of like the hiring competency versus like experience and what you're looking for. You shared with us that you actually brought in some op leaders from different industries, I believe automotive, into healthcare recruiting. What made you kind of think like that, and
Mm.
how did that work out? What were some of the results that you noticed?
Yeah,
Because
so
that's way different.
yeah, so I think the example I gave you is actually about something we're experiencing with our clients.
Oh,
And
with our client, yes.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Mhm.
that's okay because it's the same concepts and it's part of our
Yeah.
acquisition strategy. But one
Perfect.
of the things we have seen, and this is, I've not seen this in healthcare before until this recent period, maybe the last 3 to 5 years, is trying to bring in people that have more efficiency type of operations
Mm,
experience or more bottom line focused, more lean focused,
Mm.
right? And so we have one great client and the COO in his roles, he's advanced so much since then. Like he came from an automotive background into a health system.
mm,
And watching what he was able to bring into the organization to say, like, this is where there's waste, this is where process improvements, like, hey, let's just think about this different. You're so biased sometimes in the type of business you run
Yes. Hmm.
that we just can make up a million excuses for why it's not going to work. We all do that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, let me defend my work, totally valid.
Yeah.
But if someone's bringing something to you, they're probably positioning it nicely, like, hey, there's this opportunity for you can do it better. But they're probably thinking, like, hey, you have to go change or you're going to fail. That's actually what they want
Mm.
to say. So be
Yeah.
cautious.
Mhm.
But like, why not embrace that if you're
Mm.
not hitting your numbers, you're not hitting your targets, even if you are, like, wouldn't you want to layer in additional ways of thinking to foolproof yourself, like protect yourself against future risk? So
Right.
that
Yeah.
shift, I think, is happening everywhere, and I'm so
Mm.
excited about it. I think we
Yes.
all
Yeah.
need diversification of thought, all of us.
Yeah.
So,
Huge.
really excited.
I love that. And I think that it's looking at different industries is huge. Sometimes just because you're in staffing and recruiting, sometimes we can become this echo chamber of
Yes.
like learning from each other and like, oh, this staffing company does that. It's like go to other industries, try because there's nuggets and kernels that you can take from there to help evolve.
Well, and I think about back to like, again, digital evolution. Remember, like our big case for applications was the
Mhm.
one-click purchase on Amazon. How can we get to a one-click apply? So,
Yes.
and we talk about that a lot as a business. We're
Mhm.
B2B, but how do we take some of the barriers and like learn from the B2C space? Like we
Yes.
know what consumers want. If consumers want that, they're driving that in their business, which means their business is solving for that. How do we align with that?
Yes.
Mm.
It's when I was working in the last organization, we were looking for a chatbot and we wanted to find a chatbot that worked well. This was probably a little over a year ago. And
Mhm.
there's all the different like companies that we worked with that had chatbots. And the one that we found that worked the best was from a car sales like company that was so easy to use and they had adapted it in a way that we could use for travel nursing and it worked so well. And it's like we would have never thought about that. And it's
Yeah.
like you just got to get out of that echo chamber sometimes. It's just
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
absolutely.
I
Someone's
love
probably
it.
figured it out. Borrow their idea.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So I guess you've led marketing, operations, recruiting, and now a company. It's crazy awesome. One of the things that I think it's super important that you do, and I think you do a great job, I know you do a great job of it, is staying grounded and kind of close to the work. How do you do that? Like, how do you challenge yourself to stay in that place?
Yeah, so it's actually something I actually is a push-pull that I'm always dealing with because I have so much on my plate. I need to make sure
Mm,
that I'm prioritizing my time, and an easy place to default as a leader is like, let me get in the weeds, right?
mm,
Yeah.
I think I've worked really hard on this and improved, and a couple of things that we've done is one, we have created really robust dashboards
Mm.
that are really easy for me to use. So at any given time, I can
mm.
log in and see what's happening across the business from each individual desk of the recruiter. I don't stalk my recruiters. That would be weird. But like
But
if
it's good to have the
I
knowledge that the
Yep.
yeah.
So on top of that, we've also created some dashboards that can take different data points and tell me where the risk is the largest.
Mm,
So let's say I have an account that's coming up for renewal and there was just a change in leadership and we're underperforming on our SLA and
mm.
they're 2 months behind their payment. That one should be burning red and I should probably
Yes.
spend some time figuring it out.
Yeah.
The other thing is there are just partnerships that are really valuable, right? And I want to make sure my job is to not just help generate revenue, but protect that revenue and
Mm,
grow that revenue. So I'm always shifting where I'm spending time, but I'm pretty deliberate about diving into account specific questions, leveraging my next levels and stuff on where's there the biggest opportunity for growth, what's the biggest thing that's at risk, and what can we lean into and try different that we haven't done before.
yeah.
I still serve as like, I don't run any accounts directly any longer, but I am the executive sponsor over a subset of those that meet
Okay.
that criteria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We make sure that I'm engaged in at least two QBRs a year on those. So some of those are in person, some of those are virtual. And then the other thing we do is like, I have great leaders, but I have asked them, they do weekly reporting to me. So just send me like your top 3 issues for the week, top 3 solutions. We synthesize it, and that's how we do our one-on-ones. So
Yeah.
the way I have such a big team and so much going on, I've had to really craft a like engagement solution that works for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once a month, we do like a strategic one-on-one. So it's longer, we're picking our heads up. And every other week, it's like 15-minute quick hit sessions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, for me, like we're in the process of acquiring businesses.
Yeah.
If the president of that business doesn't know how many hires their team is making, I instantly want to walk away from it. And that's
Mm,
probably like too black and white and really cutthroat. But the most important thing I can do to represent what my employees are doing is be able to tell this story, right?
Yes.
And I
Mhm.
can't tell the story if I don't know the value my average individual contributor is making. And
yeah.
Yeah.
I can't tell the story if I don't know how much revenue is being retained, how many dollars are under contract, what's our pipeline. So it's a lot, but my team has created such amazing dashboards and data repositories. I'm just surrounded by people that like know how my brain works to help set me up for success.
Yes.
And that's how I survive it. So
I mean, I think it's good. I mean, as a leader, I think it's your responsibility to tell your team what you need to succeed, right? And if they understand that, then you can, conversely do the same for them.
yeah, it's been a cool journey. I'm working with some people I worked with for a long time and some newer people, and I'm sure we're coming to time because I talk so much.
You're good. You're
No,
good.
you're good.
Okay.
You're
Um,
fun.
and it takes a little while to know because like my brain does jump around a lot. But I'm a big storyteller, I think, as you guys know too. So I try to give a lot of context and just like
Mhm.
keep asking questions and keep
Yeah.
probing. My team has done a really great job. I almost want to say like rising to the occasion, but that's not even
Yes.
it. It's just like handling the crazy. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
it's an always moving target, and they're never asking me to like, hey, stop the move. It's always like, what can we do to get you? What can we do next? What can we do next?
Yes.
And that mindset
Yeah.
is so important.
And Sarah, you said something interesting about storytelling. Do you remember who said storytelling, Mirna? Mr. David Adams was talking about
Yes.
how
Oh,
the best
Yes.
people
that was
storytelling.
Jack.
No, yeah, it is, but it is like storytelling is
Telling.
it is such an imperative part of how we are as leaders and being able to impact people because they will remember the story, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
As
yeah.
opposed
And
to
I think
yeah.
they need, we always need someone, they need to understand the vision. Not everyone is a natural visionary, right? Some
Mhm.
people They just want to execute. That's the majority of the workforce, which is great. We need that. Trust me.
Yes.
I am
Yeah.
not that constant, stable person,
Yeah.
but I think not if the visionary or the person like creating sort of this is what we're going to look like and how we're going to show up, if they can't articulate that, it's really hard to get buy-in, and then your team doesn't know what is expected of them, you know? So
Yeah.
huge part of our job.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, this has been a great conversation, Sarah. I do want to kind of ask because we've had so many different types of people here, people that have been in staffing forever, people that have moved into staffing recently, people that have grown and decided to start their own staffing organization.
Yeah.
But what's a lesson from your journey that you'd share with someone feeling like stuck or
Mm.
maybe not on the right path? I think you could probably share some insight since you've kind of made a bit of a like career change with Human.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one thing I'll say, if and I this is assuming, everyone's wired in this way, is like wanting to be
Sure,
successful, you have to feel at least motivated. I'm not going to use the word passionate because work is work sometimes, right? But you
Sure.
need to feel
sure.
motivated to wake up every day and feel like you can be your best self. And for me, it's always been about what problem can I solve tomorrow and where can I make a difference, right?
Mm.
And so I think if we all start with our why, you
Hmm.
know, our what sort of experience do I want to have in this world? What sort of legacy do I want to leave behind? I think that's a really important conversation to have with yourself.
Yeah.
And then my other thing to put that in execution would be um, okay, let's like practically, what skills and competencies do I have that I can honestly like, I know these are my strengths. And
Right.
Yeah.
are there at taking those strengths, and honestly, if I'm you, I'm going to use ChatGPT to do this in today's world, load all your stuff
Totally.
in there. But
Yeah.
like take those strengths and identify where there are crossovers into other roles, positions,
Yes.
industries you haven't thought of. But with all that being said, like I I never was on a linear career path. I didn't even know what
Yeah.
I wanted to be when I grew up. I sort of just leaned into like, let me just like roll with it. And I want
Mm.
to be first one in, last one out. I want to work as hard as everyone around me. I want to be able to use my smarts and not have an ego about it. No, I'm not always
Yeah.
the smartest person in the room, but I can constantly learn. But like take things that I know I'm good at and find an opportunity to do that. Because if I'm good at it, I probably enjoy it. I probably can make a
Hmm.
difference. It's probably
Yeah.
going to be something that sustains and motivates me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't think like it doesn't matter that you're an accountant today. You're really good with
Yeah.
numbers. Like go be a data engineer then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so many
Well,
ways to cross
you've
function
ta-
in the
you've
world.
literally taken numbers and you've literally made a reason to bring them to the table in
Yeah.
every part of your
Yeah.
career change. So
Yeah.
it again, what you're doing, you found I think data is your strength and you do a great
Yeah.
job with data and managing it and making decisions from it. So
Yeah.
I love it. Sarah, oh my God, like we could keep talking forever. And I am so grateful that you are on our wonderful little podcast today, but I
So
want
excited that you
to
guys included me. It's fun.
we're not done with you
No, this
yet.
is great.
I want to know the Sarah that's not, leading businesses and, making changes in the world. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, first of the four questions, let's talk about maybe you have time to binge watch a show. Is there anything you're binge watching right now?
So right now it's the morning show.
Oh my God, I see that on
Yes. It
Apple.
just
I'm not
started,
yet.
right? The
It
the new
just
season. I
started.
haven't started
So
it.
there's totally like a powerhouse female dynamic and just like
Love.
so much drama, and I love it. But
Yes.
I
A
will
good
tell you
one.
my guilty pleasure over this summer,
Yes.
Love Island.
Yes.
I
That's
couldn't
amazing.
understand it. And my employees were talking about, I'm like, what is happening? Honestly, I still don't know what I watched, but I was there for it. Like it
I
was
Yeah.
love it.
something. It's something. So
I love it. I have to check that out because I see it and I'm just like, it's yes, because yeah, below deck's off right now, so maybe that's where I go. Yeah.
I just used to watch so much reality show. I like one year it was like my New Year's resolution and I haven't done
yeah.
it since. And I'm like, I love it. So if I got into it, I'd have to probably go into rehab and because I'd have to catch up on every reality TV show I like didn't watch.
So, you know what's funny? So I quit social media personally 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
Yeah.
love. I did
Whole
that for a
Smartest
bit.
decision, probably. Yes.
And so reality TV is like my only little guilty
Like
pleasure.
escape. Yes.
Because it's like more controllable at least because it's not really reality. So I'm like, I like
Yes.
Yes.
data with
I
stuff.
like it. Yeah, it's not really
Um,
reality, but makes you feel like maybe. You're like, at least that drama's not my drama.
Yep. Yep.
Let's see, what's a one non-work related goal or hobby that you're currently passionate about or
Listen,
into?
I don't have a great answer to this because I do not have time to be passionate about hobbies. I mean, my
No
kids, like,
surprise.
it's
Yes,
like I am
you got two
busy.
young ones.
Yeah, it's my kids trying to like get
Oh
there.
yeah, she
Like,
has a family on top of this, everybody. It's not
Yeah.
like
yeah.
she's a mother as well. Let's not
Yeah,
forget. That's a
so
full-time.
kind of like my kids and my puppy is probably like my hobby right
Your
now. So
hobby. It's a
not
good
even
hobby
like,
to have if you're gonna have those
yeah, we'll
things.
figure out hobbies later.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, so Sarah's waking up in the morning and she turns on her Spotify. What's a song that you're like, yes, this is my get me going?
So I have a few, but my long-term one for like 20 something years now has been Thunderstruck. Like there's
Love.
nothing like
That's
Thunderstruck
Yes.
a
to
good
like
one.
Yes.
get
That's
you
a good
started.
one.
So I
Dun
haven't found
dun.
one yet that can do it for me.
Freaking
Let's
love it.
see. And last question, what is something that you're grateful for in your life today?
Oh, so you know, one cool thing is like there's two parts to this. I'm really grateful for the relationships I've built over the years, both
Yeah.
personally, professionally. Like it's really something that became super important to me, and I didn't realize how impactful it was in my life until my daughter got sick several years ago.
Yeah.
But really, the thing that's most important to me is my daughter's health and my family's
Yeah.
health. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything I do for them and for my community and like my
Yeah.
friends and my peers. And I'm just so grateful that like I have this position and
Yeah.
I have this opportunity in life to like serve my family, but hopefully like pay it forward as
Yeah.
well, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah,
I
so
love
I'm
it.
grateful for my life, I guess.
Oh,
That's
well, we are.
amazing.
Yes. Well, we are so grateful for you in joining us and sharing your story and what a remarkable one it is. So, Sarah, thank you so much for
Thank you
joining.
so much for having me. I was so like so
Yeah.
honored to be
Yeah.
included. I don't do this stuff, so like I
No,
totally
it's
appreciate it.
Thank
we're
you for
so
doing
grateful.
it with us. Yeah,
Yes, and guys, if you like
seriously.
it, smash that like button, share Miss Sarah G. Palmer with the world because
Yes.
there's lots to share. And
She's the bomb.com.
There you go.
totally. Sarah, thank you again for joining us. We can't wait to share your story, and we hope we get to do this again with you soon. Thank you.
Yes.
See y'all
Okay.
later.
Bye.
Yes, thanks, lady.